Hi, welcome back to Coffees with Consultants. I'm Linda Tobiasen, the early childhood mental health consultant in the Sarasota location, and I'm with Leah Murray, the early childhood mental health consultant in Northport. And we're here to bring you some parenting tips and tricks in the time it takes to have a cup of coffee. Today, we were going to talk about how all behavior is a form of communication. So, when a child may be having big feelings or big emotions, we may want to ask ourselves, what are they really trying to tell us?
Absolutely. Thank you for that introduction. Happy to be here. Hopefully, this goes pretty smoothly. I have a toddler, so when Linda and I were talking about how we would or what we would talk about, I just got off the airplane with my toddler, so I was thinking a lot about behavior and at that age where we're not able to use our words to just say how we feel, how behavior can kind of give us some clues as to what our kids are trying to say when they're kicking us and hitting and yelling and doing the things that are really hard.
Yes. And I think a lot of understanding a child's behavior is often connected to their attachment needs. So we may think that our children are wanting attention, but if we can rephrase that and say our children want connection, then that might give us a different view on what's going on with the child.
Absolutely. I think anytime we can reframe that point of view where it feels like our child or a child that we're working with is out to get us or is giving us a really hard time, if we can find a way to view that as something a little bit more of like, well, I need some help here versus I'm trying to do this to you, I'm trying to drive you nuts. We can help a lot. It's a lot easier to want to help and to help.
Yeah. And
And
I
part of
think,
that is staying regulated, right?
yes. And I think we've all been there, Leah. We've all had those moments with our children or with children in the classroom. But I think that one way, like, how do we help them connect, right? Might be a question. But when they're having these big emotions, just being with them, being with the child can help them regulate their bodies and regulate and be calm. So they're looking really for a trusted adult to be with them during this dysregulation.
And something has been coming up a lot for me recently that I'm still learning is like, even though kids can be really young, they can be really emotionally intuitive. And sometimes, if our response to a hard behavior is to show that it was a hard thing to deal with, we can kind of get this reaction from our kids where it's like a doubling down, like, well, I hate you even more now, or like, I'm going to do even more of this now. And really, if you look at it, it's like in this adult way, like, oh, she's pushing me away or he's pushing me away, like, and what she really needs is me more than ever in this moment. So
Yes.
that can be hard.
That is such a great point. And, we talk a lot about being bigger, stronger, kinder, and wise. So
Hmm.
sometimes bigger and stronger without kind can be too mean.
Hmm.
Kind without bigger and stronger can be too weak. So
Hmm.
how do we find a balance as a caregiver?
And I love circle of security, which is where that phrase comes from. And I think about that phrase every single day, like as a parent. And I think it's such a good and doable goal to aspire to be like as a parent, is like, if I can just, before I enter a situation, then I can remain the kinder, wiser, bigger, stronger. I can be a teacher in this moment.
Yes. And sometimes we need a timeout first, right? Take a
Absolutely.
minute, as long as your child is safe, to take a few deep breaths or just kind of walk away if your child is safe, like I said, kind of gather your emotions in order to be with them in their emotions.
Absolutely. And that's such a good way of like modeling too, of because when we're young, we literally don't have that skill of being able to say, I'm having a hard time, or I need this, or even it could be I have to go to the bathroom. So yeah, definitely.
Yes, I think Leah and I were talking before, and we were just saying how it's kind of detective work. Like, what are they
Yes.
trying to tell us? And
Yeah.
it's real easy for us to be with our children's in those positive, happy, joy emotions, but it's a little more difficult to be with them when they're sad or angry. So it sounds so easy, but we know it's difficult in the moment.
For sure. And I think as someone who like we work, we both have children. Mine are a little bit younger than yours, but we both have kids, so we're attachment figures at home, and then we're doing this at school. Sometimes that can be a lot, and what I've found that can help me to look at the situation a little bit more clearly is to view it, like you said, as a puzzle or something a little bit more objective, that it's like, I need to conquer this. It's not me versus this other person.
Yes. And I do have this book for parents. If people are a little more interested about attachment and what circle of security parenting is, Raising a Secure Child by Kent Hoffman, Glenn Cooper, and Bert Powell. And that is for parents. And then Leah and I were saying, really, any books about emotions for children are great to allow them to identify how they're feeling. So one of my favorites is The Color Monster. It's a pop-up book, so the children love it. And it goes through each emotion.
And I wonder if it might be also helpful to give a little tip on how we can just in real time talk to our kids about their feelings. Linda, do you have any? I have one on the top of my head, but first, would you like to share one of yours?
Go ahead. What do you mean? Tell me.
So I'm thinking about, because we talk about this skill in the circle of security of organize my feelings, and what that can look like in real time sometimes simply is when we see our child or a child that we're working with having a big behavior, is we just kind of let them know what it looks like from our view. You're really angry, you're stomping your feet, I always talk about eyebrows when I'm talking about feelings with young kids. But all those things really, like, in the moment, they might seem a little silly, as long as your kid isn't too dysregulated, by the way. You can't talk to a kid if they're having a really, really hard time, but yeah, that can be one.
I agree. And I think, your point is to validate their feelings, just how are they feeling? Just being with them, explaining to them, oh, you feel mad, you're angry. You look like you're angry. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Sure. And I really appreciate the validation piece of that because it's so important.
Yes. So
we want to belong.
Yeah. We encourage you to reach out to us if you want more information on Circle of Security Parenting, or if any of this resonates with you and you need some assistance or support, you can reach out to me in the Sarasota location or Leah in the Northport location. And there is a info@thefloracenter.org email that you can send emails to as well.
Absolutely. We are always here to help, and that's kind of what we're here for. So if you are a parent or a family of our school, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.